The next day, we did the Black Butler panel with Daisuke Ono, which is crazy. But I also had the pleasure of having dinner with him the night before, which was great, really fun. And we got to hang out a bit and get some beers and chat. And I had to try my goddamn best for my Japanese. It was so good. I was killing it for like 30 minutes. I would bang, super fluid conversation. It was like 30 minutes of like back and forth, no help needed. Nihongo Jozu off the charts. Tanaka-san really came out that day. I think they thought my Japanese was then better than it was. So then they started talking to me like just like normal. And then it started getting really hard. And I was like, oh God. And I kept asking, I kept like pretending I knew what they said. I was like, yeah. And then I'd be like to the one of the Geeks Plus staff who's with me. I was like, hey, what did they say? Just to make sure I understand that. And then there was one point where I misunderstood, which I think he understood that I misunderstood, but it was so bad. So we were talking, and I'm not really sure what I can and can't say, but obviously, you know, I told him that I'm a big fan of JoJo. Even though we were there to do the Black Butler panel, you know, I was a huge fan. Obviously, his work is all goated. I mean, he's done Irwin, he's done Shizuo. I'll get into the story. I'll just give a bit of backstory. And I guess the staff who were with us explained to him kind of like what my deal was, because I guess how do you explain why I'm there? It's such a weird thing, right? Like, so this guy, you know, you're the voice of Sebastian, but this guy, well, he's not the English voice. He's actually like the fake English voice, and he did a bunch of YouTube videos pretending to be him. And so we decided to like let him on the panel. It like doesn't make any sense, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's dumb. Yeah. Anyway, he found that quite funny. Very sweet of him. Walmart Sebastian. Yeah, I kind of basically Walmart Sebastian, right? Like that's kind of like, I don't know how to explain this. But immediately, I didn't know what the word to impersonate was in Japanese or to like mimic. But he kept saying he kept asking me to do my Sebastian voice, which I found funny. And I told him I don't want to do that because that's embarrassing. And you're Sebastian and I shouldn't do it because that's a joke. And then I was like, I don't want to do that. I feel like that's cringe. I don't want to do that in front of you. And he was like, nah, you'll do the thing. You'll do the thing. And I was like, I don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. And he's like, you'll do it. You're going to do it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And like 30 minutes later, he's like taking a sip of his beer and he goes, so are you going to do it? It's like, I don't want to do it. And he's like, just do it once. I was like, all right, fine. I'll do it. And so I did like the line and he was like, very nice. It's like, oh, so cringe. Why does he make me do this? He was such a good sport though. He was so nice. And obviously, you know, we spoke a bunch about Sebastian and stuff and Black Butler and it was great. Pressure to do cringe. Thought it was cool. Yeah, well, you know, a lot of the seiyus are so nice. And obviously I've met a bunch of seiyus and they're all so kind. And, you know, he spoke so highly of dub actors as well. I think a lot of the time we always think, sub's better than dub, blah, blah, blah. You know, and he had a fantastic standpoint, which was, look, I'm talking like, I'm like paraphrasing him now. It's not me saying it. He goes like, look, I've done a bunch of American movies. I've dubbed them. I understand how hard it can be. You know, there's an art to dubbing and getting the character. And he's got just as much respect with people who is dubbing and who are the original. And he, you know, at the end of the day, they're all actors. He was so humble. It was really cool just hearing him just be a Gigguk chat, basically. It was just great. He was just such a nice guy. Like I can't speak more highly of him. And it was a great time. Anyway, I f***ed up because we were talking about JoJo, of course. Oh, and he, not to brag, but like he might have said yada yada does it. I'm just saying you know, it's only the greatest moment of my life. Anyway, we were talking and I said, obviously I was like, yeah, you know, Jotaro's cool. I love Joseph. And basically I'd slightly misunderstood. And the problem with being slightly good at a language or like passively good is that I sometimes hear 90% of the sentence, but the 10% that I missed was quite important. So he was explaining to me, I was like, yeah, dude, we used to drink and it was great. You know, we'd always go out for beers. This is with the voice actor of Joseph. And what I didn't catch in that sentence, because I'd already reacted, been like, oh, dude, that's so cool. That's so awesome. Is that he then said, yeah, he died and he had passed. So so he was like, yeah, we used to go out and drink, you know, but, you know, it's unfortunate that he passed. And so I missed out that part and I was like, that's so fucking hype. That's so sick. That's so awesome. and then I was like, oh, missed that part. Because then he kind of laughed at me and went like, no, and explained it to me. And I was like, all right. Yeah, not the best. Not my best. Not my best moment. So that was how I did a Gigguk cringe moment. But we laughed it off. It was fine. Asshole, KW. I mean, look, chat, when you have the languages, these things happen. These things happen. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he was super nice about it. He was like, don't worry, bro. So it was great. You felt secondhand embarrassment? Yeah. Well, I had the first hand and the second hand now, remember it. And probably the third hand and the fourth hand when I remember the CN in a couple of days. I would just never speak the language again. That was a bit of an awkward moment for me. But it was great. No, it was great. We bonded over our love of the IPAs.